Shabbat Shalom. And Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach.
Chag Sameach. It is not only Shabbat, but it is also the first full day of Shavuot. And we'll talk a little bit more about Shavuot in a little while, but basically Shavuot is one of those wonderful spring holidays celebrating the first harvest, the first fruits, and also the spiritual harvest, if you will. It is a time when we receive the Torah from Mount Sinai. So we have counted down the days between Passover and Shavuot, so there's 49 days between the two. And those were the days where the people were wandering through the desert, and finally we received Torah 49 days later, which is really our raison d'etre for having left Egypt. Right? We leave Egypt, we leave slavery, and we arrive at Sinai, and that's kind of our purpose, right? The purpose of leaving Egypt was to become partners with God and to become the Jewish people, not only this collection of people descended from the ancient patriarchal and matriarchal narratives. And so it's at that moment where we engage in that moment that we say, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do, we will participate, and in the participation, we will learn, nishma, right? We will hear. And so this has become the kind of experiential model, if you will, of Jewish tradition, of we are a people who learn through the doing, right? Or in a sense, you don't only learn from a book, you have to learn through the experience, right? I can teach people about Shabbat all day long, but you can only experience Shabbat when you're in the community, whether it's joining here in person or via live stream or whatever it might be. But it's when you connect with that experience that Shabbat becomes something more than an academic piece of something on a text. So, okay, Edie, if you'll come, we'll invite Edie forward to light our Shabbat candles and our Yom Tov candles. So it's Shabbat v'Yom Tov. Page 2.
Now, whoever flattened that one side did a good job. They seem to stand up straight. See how they figured that? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzibanu lahadlik ner shel Yom Tov.
Amen.
Amen.
A beautiful, beautiful day. And so we join in Maya Hayom, how beautiful this day really is. And on page 20, we join together in Lecha Dodi as we welcome our Shabbat bride. And you can imagine on a beautiful day like today, especially in the hills of northern Israel in Tzfat, where this poem was created, and the rabbis would go out into the fields and they would welcome Shabbat in. And they would go into the fields and they would sing these songs and create this moment of welcoming Shabbat into their hearts and their lives. And so we do the same as we welcome Shabbat into our own. Please be seated. On the following page, we'll continue with Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, a song for Shabbat.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות. עלי אסור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני. ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון.
On page 24, we'll join together in Shalom Aleichem, a prayer or words of welcome. The prayer begins, of course, the greeting it takes off from is Shalom Aleichem, peace be on you, and the response is Aleichem Shalom, on you, may there be peace. And so before we actually do that, let's stand up and introduce yourselves. We have some guests. The Haas family is with us, so please welcome them and meet somebody you don't know. Okay, and we'll join together on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Moachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom. Sorry, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Ni L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzidchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
So we turn together to page 26 and rise for Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgada v'yitgada Shmei Rabbah, ve'amad yivarach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon u'v'yomechon, u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael, bagala, bagala, u'v'zman karif, v'meru, amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah mevorach, le'alam ulal me'amaya, yitbarach, yitbarach v'yishabach, v'yitvar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitameh Shemeda Kudisha,
Barichu.
Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma, bimaru, amen.
Baruch Hu can be found, our call to worship, on page 28.
Baruch Hu Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated as we continue with Ma'ariv Aravim, and on a beautiful day like today, it is so powerful to think of the mysteries and the wonders of God's creation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitvuna mishaneh itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem b'rakia kirtzono. Borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, Umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed.
Baruch atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim.
Page 33. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. So we rise together for Shema, page 34.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem, Kivod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed.
Please be seated, and we'll continue page 36 with Ve'ahavta.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha vishinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech u'shachbecha u'v'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai Vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lehiyot lachem lelohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Page 39. We'll join together. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea. We continue on page 40 with Michamocha, our song of freedom.
Yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 yai lai 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 Michamocha ba'elim Adonai Michamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehilot osei feleh Nora tehilot osei feleh.
Malchutecha rahu v'anecha boker yam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam ze Eli anu v'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov u'gelo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch ata Adonai ga'al Yisrael. Let's join together, top of page 43. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will.
Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim ve'al kol amo. Ve'al Yerushalayim shalom. Baruch atah Adonai haborei sukat shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael.
Page 45. We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time. And we thank God for the opportunity and the blessings to celebrate Shabbat together. Vishamru, page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Beni uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Page 47. Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. As we rise for Amidah, Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open my lips, that our mouths may declare your praise.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chastei Avot v'Imahot, U'mevig Ula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah Rav Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Michamocha Bal Gevurot, Umido Melach, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, kadoshim b'chol yom yahalu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
Please be seated as we continue page 53. Days pass and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh. Let's join together, top of page 55. May these hours of rest and renewal
Open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth.
May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day.
And may this day fulfill its promise.
Baruch atah Adonai,
Mekadesh
HaShabbat.
HaShabbat.
Page 57. Ever present one, may we, your people Israel, be worthy in our deeds and our prayer. Wherever we live, wherever we seek you, in this land, in Zion restored, in all lands. You are our God, whom alone we serve in reverence. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Let's join together, top of 59. God of goodness, we give thanks
for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth which day by day sustains us. For all these and more we offer thanks.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha lecha na'eh lehodot. Page 61. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace. And give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul. And may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata hu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Ki ata hu melech Adon lecho hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol heit uvechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
We take a few moments for silent prayer.
Adonai Tzuri
We turn together to our prayer for healing, and we think of all those who need our energies and our blessings of healing, all those who are dealing with illness of any kind or variety, and we pray for healing of body and mind and heart and soul. And we especially mention Steve Toddleben, Diane Levy, Martha Snyder, Patrick Callahan, Rabbi John Bush, Joanna Bush, Jay Kaler, Sidney Kruzik, Arlene Sandelstein, Barbara Gage, Walter Horner, Sandra French, John Myers, Sidney Scrumenti, Marcia Koblitz, and Paula Bennett. If you are joining us via live stream and you would like to add a name, please add the name into our chat. If you are here in person and would like to add a name, please add as I look around. We join together.
Mi sheberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shavuot. One of the traditions is to do some studying. You get just enough. Okay. So one of the scriptural readings for Shavuot is the book of Ruth. Right? And I thought we could take a look at just the first part of the book, which really tells the story of Ruth and Naomi and the saga. So let's just jump in. If we could, my voice is not in great form today, so I'm going to ask someone if they would like to read. Colleen, come on up. Thank you. You're the best.
Just start reading, you'll tell me when to stop? Okay. In the days when the chieftains ruled, there was famine in the land, and a man of Bethlehem in Judah and his wife and 2 sons went to reside in the country of Moab.
Okay, so the first thing we have is stuff's not good at home. What do you have to do? You got to move, right? We've done that since the beginning, right? We are the wandering Jews, right? Stuff's not good in Canaan, we go to Egypt. Stuff not good things get rough in Egypt and slaves and all that stuff, we leave. So this is kind of the cycle and the pattern that gets established early on. And here we have this whole experience of they're living in the land of Israel, and there's a famine, you got to go. Okay.
I'm going to mess up the names.
You want me to do the names?
I said I'm going to try.
Okay.
The man's name was Elimelech, his wife's name was Naomi, and his 2 sons were Malon and Chilion.
So you got to do it with the Hebrew ch,
I'm trying.
right? So it's Machlon and Chilion.
Chilion. Sorry. The Ephrathites of Bethlehem in Judah. They came to the country of Moab and remained there. Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women. One was named Orpah and the other Ruth, and they lived there about 10 years. Then those 2, Machlon and Chilion, also died. So the woman was left without her 2 sons and without her husband.
This woman has tsuris, right? This is a tragic tale. I mean, her husband has died. Now the sons have died, and I mean, or the sons-in-law have died. And recognize that in the ancient world, if you were a woman and your partner, your husband died, you had no means of reasonable support, right? So you know, there were very few ways that you could support yourself. And so you had to look for another union, another marriage. And in this case, so this is not just simply the human tragedy of it, this is a practical tragedy of how are they going to survive? How are they going to live? So it goes even further in that of course, if you have children, then your children can support you. So that's one of the ways that happens, right? If you don't have kids, then that becomes a whole other, challenge. So much so, this is a little bit of an aside, but if somebody is married and there are no children and their husband dies, the husband's brother is obligated to marry her. And the first child that they have is attributed to the dead brother. So that she has now this kind of inherited pattern, and that she can have some sort of support. So that was so important in that ancient structure. Okay, go ahead.
She started out with her daughters-in-law to return from the country of Moab. And for in the country of Moab she had heard that the Lord had taken note of his people and given them food. Accompanied by her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living, and they set out on the road back to the land of Judah.
Okay, so what other choice do they have except to go back home? So she knows that there's family there, she has some kind of connections, she has some sort of support, and so she decides to go with, and she takes the 2 girls with her.
But Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Turn back each of you to her mother's house. May the Lord deal kindly with you, as you have dealt with the dead and with me."
Okay, so what does she say? But Naomi is kind of feeling guilty about taking these 2 with her, and she says, look, you should really go back to your parents' home. And you'll go back, you'll find another match, you'll move on with your life, I can't support you, right? I'm no good to you. I don't have a way to support myself, never mind the 2 of you.
May the Lord grant that each of you find security in the house of a husband. And she kissed them farewell. They broke into weeping and said to her, "No, we will return with you to your people." But Naomi replied, "Turn back, my daughters. Why should you go with me? Have I any more sons in my body who might be husbands for you?"
Right, so this is that idea of the brother marrying his deceased brother's wife, right? This is what she's really saying. It's, I don't have any other children, that you can marry. So you're stuck, right? We don't have that option here. Okay.
Turn back, my daughters, for I am too old to be married. Even if I thought there was hope for me, even if I were married tonight, and I also bore sons, should you wait for them to grow up? Should you, on their account, bar yourselves from marriage? Oh no, my daughters, my lot is far more bitter than yours, for the hand of the Lord has struck out against me.
Right, so she's saying, hey, look, I have problems. I don't have a way to support myself. I don't have a way to do that, but you potentially do. So go back home. I love you very much, but you need to get on with your life over there.
They broke into weeping again, and Orpah kissed her mother-in-law farewell, but Ruth clung to her. So she said, see, your sister-in-law has returned to her people and her gods. Go follow your sister-in-law.
Right, so Orpah, by the way, this is like Oprah Winfrey, right? They actually, she was supposed to be Orpah, and they like reversed the letters. But that's, at least that's the Midrash. Okay, so Orpah agrees and says, okay, I'm going to go home. But Ruth says, no chance. I'm sticking with you.
But Ruth replied, do not urge me to leave you, to turn back and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God.
Right, so this is this classic, very famous sort of passage, right, that says, no, I'm in. I'm in with you. I am linking myself to your family, your people, your belief system, your traditions. This is who I am. And this is probably the text in which we hang Shavuot on, or the reason that Shavuot picks up this particular story. Because it's a parallel between what we all do on Shavuot, or on, when we leave Egypt, right? We stand at Sinai and say, in effect, the same thing. That we're all in. We're all in terms of our observances and our belief systems and the way in which we function. These are our people, and we are going to gather together and be with our folks. And this is the community that we're in. Okay.
Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus and more may the Lord do to me, if anything but death parts me from you. When Naomi saw how determined she was to go with her, she ceased to argue with her. And the two went on until they reached Bethlehem. When they arrived in Bethlehem, the whole city buzzed with excitement over them. The women said, can this be Naomi?
Remember, she hasn't been home in, a decade or more, and suddenly she comes back. And now remember, in the ancient world, if you left, you left. There was no coming back for vacation, vacations and visits and such like that. You left and you were gone. And you made your home wherever you went, and that was it. And it wasn't like you could email back and forth or even send letters or whatever. That was it. You really had no means of communication. You may have passed a message through a caravan, maybe, possibly, sort of, but not anything substantial. And so everybody's excited to have this, Naomi back.
Do not call me Naomi, she said. Call me Mara, for Shaddai has made my lot very bitter.
So that's the change of name, right? We often experience a name change with biblical characters. Jacob becomes Israel as Jacob struggles with God, and Naomi shifts into Mara, meaning a sense of bitterness, a sense of sadness. That's who she's kind of embodying.
I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. How can you call me Naomi when the Lord has dealt harshly with me, when Shaddai has brought misfortune upon me? Thus Naomi returned from the country of Moab. She returned with her daughter-in-law Ruth the Moabite. They arrived in Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest.
Okay. And so that's the other connection, the barley harvest, the first harvest, which is the Shavuot harvest. Thank you, Colin. So we've got this text that talks about faith. And it talks about the idea of linking yourself with a group of people and with a community and with a belief system. And that belief system is a connection that happens even when things get rough, even when things are tough. You know, and even though there was this limited hope for success or sustenance or support, Ruth and Naomi sort of stick it out together. And it has become this quintessential story of connection and commitment on behalf of the Jewish people. And so that's why we link it to Shavuot as we link the opportunity to once again reenact that moment of receiving Torah at Sinai. So, questions? Craig.
What's the name Naomi mean?
Yeah, so it could be related to Am, like our people of mine kind of a thing. We're not exactly sure. Yeah, it's less clear than Mara, which is like directly a sense of bitterness. So, okay, all right. We are going to continue with Aleinu on page 282. Please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים עמו, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו ופזולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים עמו, והארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. On each of the three pilgrimage festivals of Pesach, Shavuot, and Sukkot, as well as on Yom Kippur, we include a Yizkor service, a service of memory and memorial, a time to reflect, a time to think of all of those that we have loved and who are no longer part of our physical world. It is a profound recognition on behalf of Jewish tradition that says that we know that just as the love that we shared with people who were important to us and part of our lives and part of our families, that love doesn't go anywhere, and then too, neither does the grief and the sadness at their deaths. And so we begin with Mizmor LeDavid, the 23rd Psalm.
Adonai roi lo echsar, bin Od te sheyar bitzeni Alamei menuchot Alamei menuchot Yinaleini Nafshi Yishovev Yishovev Yancheni b'magelei tzedek Yancheni b'magelei tzedek Leman Shemo Gam Gilech B'gitz al Mavet Lo Hirara Ki Ata Imadi Shivatecha Umishantecha Himayina Shachuni Taroch lefanai Shulchan neged zorerai Nishanta Mashem ben Roshi Kosi Rivaya Ach Tom Ach Esed Yirdufuni Kol yemei chayai, kol yemei chayai, l'shavati mivit Adonai leorech yamim. Adonai roi lo echsar Adonai roi lo echsar
And continuing with the 121st Psalm, a song of hope, a song that we feel that God is next to us in climbing the mountain, a song for reaching up. I turn my eyes to the mountains. Where will my help come? My help comes from the eternal maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way. Your guardian will not slumber.
Me'ayin me'ayin yavo Ezri Esayin eleharim Me'ayin me'ayin yavo Ezri Ezri me'im Adonai Oseh shamayim va'aretz Ezri me'im Adonai Oseh shamayim va'aretz.
Our loved ones live in our broken hearts, and at times that brings some measure of healing. Their acts of kindness and generosity are the inheritance they leave behind. We feel their absence, but the beauty of their lives abides among us. As it is said, the name of one who has died shall not disappear. Our loved ones' names and their memories will endure among us. And these are the names on our lips and in our hearts. As we rise together for El Malei Rachamim, our memorial prayer. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamtzei Menucha Nuchona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, Im Kedoshim Utohorim, Kezahar Harakia Mazhirim, Lenishmot Yakirenu Shechalchu Lo'olamam, Ba'al Harachamim, Yastirem Baseter Kanafav Loramim, Vayitzror Bitzror Achayim Et Nishmatam, Adonai Hu Nachlatam, V'yanuchu B'shalom Al Mishkavam, V'nomar. Amen. Compassionate God, hold them close to you forever. May their souls be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May they find a home in you, and may they rest in peace, as together we say. Amen. Please be seated. As we pause for moments of reflection, as we see the faces of our community, our loved ones, our friends, those who were important to this congregation as we do our memorial slideshow. Our thoughts turn to loved ones whom death has taken from us in recent days, and those who died this season in years past. Our hearts open as well to those to the wider circle of loss in our community and wherever grief touches the human family. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be a blessing for us and always. We rise together for Mourner's Kaddish. Can be found either on page 294, or on the screen in front of you. We think of those who died most recently. We're in the period of Shiva for Royce Haas, grandfather of Chris Haas, and condolences to the entire Haas family who is with us. And I know that this wasn't the intended reason for your trip here, but it is good that you are all together. And we are in the period of Shloshim for David Renberg. And we observe Yartzeit on this Shabbat for Bessie Jacobs, Max Galinsky, Isidore Levick, Meryl Saudry, Judah Smith, Charles Levick, Sidney Prager, Bertha Wertheimer, Patricia Seligson, Rabbi Max Kurek, Esther Lucas, Julia Goldman, Morris Strauss, Isaac Strauss, Eleanor Rittenberg, Mannheim, Isaac Rosenthal, Nathan Klein, Jerome Stone, and Seema Lancet Keister. If anybody would like to add a name, if you are here in person, please add a name. If you are by live stream, please add the name into our chat. We join together. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ba'alma divrach rutei v'yamlich marchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya, v'yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. Please be seated. And Julie, are you the board rep? Okay. Julie will give some congregational announcements. There's lots going on.
Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach. And thank you to Rabbi and Jesse for a beautiful service again. And welcome to all of you regulars, and welcome to all the guests as well. The announcements, so there will be no Saturday morning services in the summer, June 3rd through September 30th. There will be Torah study at...
Except for one.
Oh, except for one, that's right,
for one.
which we'll get there in a second.
Okay.
Yes. There will still be Torah study at 9:30 over Zoom. And so just check your weekly emails for that Zoom link if you need it. Next weekend, there will be a very special Shabbat service on Friday night to honor our Gesher students. Teachers. Gesher teachers, even more important. Services at the regular time, and a dessert oneg is to follow, and no RSVP is needed, so please come and honor our teachers. Then the annual meeting is going to be on June 13th at 6 p.m., and that's going to be special. We need to have a quorum so we can vote on officers and the budget, but then there will be a demonstration of the new system called ShulCloud, where you'll be able to log on and look at your accounts and things, and the person who is designing the new High Holy Day Torah covers will also be here to talk about those designs. And then finally, last but certainly not least, save the date, June 24th is our Saturday morning service for our adult B'nai Mitzvah. We're going to celebrate with Craig Reynolds and Bobby Pollock and Carly Williamson and Mimi Waldman. There will be an oneg to follow. Please RSVP to the temple office by June 16th. And Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
Thank you. And so just to be clear, because of the holiday, there will be no Torah study or service tomorrow. Okay? Just to make sure everybody knows. Okay. We're going to conclude with sanctuary. Great. The text comes to us that says, Asuli mikdash, make me a sanctuary, v'shochanti betocham, so I can dwell amongst you.
So we'll do it in Hebrew first, and then we'll do it in English. And I'm sorry, it's not in the prayer book, but I've been doing it enough that maybe you can just at least hum along. And if you know the words, then sing them. If you don't know the words, sing something anyway. You've heard me sing enough tonight. Vasuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham v'anachnu nivarech ya me'ata ve'ad olam. God prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
Let's join together in Kiddush.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho me'ava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techila l'mikra'e kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim, ve'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat. Amen.
Chaim.
Chaim. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, we give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our joyful prayer is said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.